had an experience that almost made me ashamed. I was struggling with obeying an instruction. I was struggling with knowing how to start. Execution is what we call it in corporate. Obeying instruction is what Bible teaches, right? So here I was with an instruction from God, an idea of what next to do, but was seriously struggling to start because I was just seeing all of the loopholes, all of the things that can be improved. And that's not a bad thing, but it's a bad thing when it then begins to affect execution. So one of the days I just made a vulnerable diary entry, and on that journey led me to understand this as what it was, the curse of knowledge, knowing too much that the knowledge of how to run the process, the knowledge on how to execute now becomes a challenge. So I had a conversation with was when I met and just told her all of these things, and she was like, "The problem is that you know too much." And this is someone that was just getting to know me, and they were able to immediately make that accurate, very accurate diagnosis. And I took my L. So I was beginning to beat myself up. Now realize that the next step is not to beat yourself up, but I was beginning to do that again. Then I came on Instagram, another woman I really respect and have come to take on as a teacher. So she was just sharing a vulnerable post. So they mentioned about this particular instruction from 2 years ago that they were yet to execute on. And their journey navigating that when they saw somebody doing it. And then the major thing that that message left with me was something that often happens to us when you see somebody doing something that God has told you to do. We've been cultured to think about it to be, oh, God has found somebody else to do it, which is true in a sense because as the ideas are dropping in your heart, in your spirit, it's not a one man work. The kingdom work is not a one man mission. So it is possible it's dropping in several hearts. Now, and we used to think that, oh, when we see it happening in other places, it means that, oh, God has left us and moved on. But that's not it. That post made me realize that the pride in us that makes us want to be one and only. So we want to be the only ones doing that thing. So when we see somebody doing it, like, oh, this is already oversaturated. Oh, people are already talking about it. So why bother? But God put that vision in your heart because it's something you can work on. And until He says stop, keep pushing on it. Seeing that this person who has executed on many things in recent times has blessed my life was talking about an instruction they were holding on to, they hadn't acted on yet. It made me give myself grace. Again, it helped me see that, okay, this challenge, we are becoming, right? We are becoming. Because I was like, I talk about obedience, I practice it, I've done XYZ, but then why did I struggle? Why am I struggling with this? That experience coming across that post just made me realize that sometimes when things take time the way they do is not to begin to beat myself up or begin to stay in that loop of all of the things I know that could go wrong. It's still the same thing that worked the last time that is going to work this time around, and that's moving, that's executing, that's deconstructing all of the knowledge I have and finding the bare bone that I need to start. And I guess I'm sharing this to say if you find yourself in that loop where it's like, oh, God gave you an instruction and 10 other people are already doing it, and you're beginning to feel left out, you're beginning to feel that, oh, God has moved on from you, except God tells you, never mind, except He tells you, don't do that anymore, except He gives you something else, a new instruction, go back to the last instruction He has given. Start on that thing. That a lot of people are doing it, have come to learn, doesn't mean that you shouldn't. We are a body ministry. I mean, the kingdom agenda cannot be executed by one man. So when we see other people walking the same path, doing the same thing or similar things, maybe it's time to begin to look at it as encouragement that, okay, we'll be many. I mean, we sing that song, don't we? We'll be many. Oh. Now you guys are getting many, and we're like, oh my God, we're lots. Will be many. I said a lot of things in this video, but I really hope that answers questions you have about starting, answers questions that you have about beating yourself up, and encourages your heart to continue working with the Lord. Love you. Bye.